Hey everyone, just going to give you a little bit of a overview of what the honors and CP physics syllabus or syllabi are going to look like. They have slight differences, but most of them, all the difference between them are pretty similar, as well as the similarity between this and the calculus one if you have seen that video. So if you haven't, please take a look at that. If you're in calculus, but if you're ready to go, I'm ready to go. So let's go. So let's start off with the honors one, and I'll tell you what the difference is, and we'll switch over to the CP college prep physics whenever needed. But as you can see from that little change, uh, there's pretty much not much of a change, at least for this introduction part. So this year, we are going to learn as much as we can about physics, real world problems, mathematical relationships, problem solving. But then one of the big ones as well is scientific practices. We're going to learn a little bit about collaboration as much as we can and perseverance, because whether you are in an honors class or in a regular CP class, I have a feeling that this might push you academically. So what you need to bring is going to be a writing utensil, notebook. For virtual students, the folder and or binder is not really applicable. The AP approved calculator, as I said in the calculus video, it is always good to have sort of this calculator that you are familiar with so that when you do go on to college, you are most comfortable with that one. I still have mine from high school with the equation sheet tucked underneath the cover as well. So you will be using your favorite calculator for a long time. Chromebook with charger, you guys will all be having a computer, and the equation sheet that is going to differ from honors and CP physics. I will get to that later when the first equations pretty much come out. But then lastly, positive attitude. You can't go wrong with that one. So other necessities. For the calculus video, I shared that the lined paper separate notebook that will be needed just so that I don't see your physics homework mixed in with your math homework, mixed in with your chemistry homework. And then for COVID reasons, we'll allow electronic submission, but for virtual students, it's pretty much all going to be electronic submissions. Lastly, optional materials. This is just a good guideline to have. Always have a spare calculator or batteries with you. You never know when your batteries are going to die or when your calculator is going to fail. So it's always good to have highlighters, post-it notes, any note-taking aids. So for the breakdown, it'll be broken down into 4 different categories: class participation, homework, skills assessments, and then projects and labs. So class participation is pretty simple. Online students are expected to show submission of various online activities. So whatever class activities we have, I would put on facts, and then once it is on facts, we will it should be able to be completed in a certain way. Students will also be expected to go up to the board to solve problems. Since you are here virtually, that would have to be done through either type of webcam recording, whether it be a Flipgrid or a Google Meet, but I will get down to that when it is first needed to be done. I don't want to overwhelm all of you with everything here, but we'll get down to it. Students will be given an average of between 1.5 to 2.5 hours of homework per calendar week. That will be broken up with strict due dates. And for a lateness, I will be taking off 10% each day that it is late. So depending on the quality of the work and when it is late, at maximum you will have 2 full weeks to turn it in. But I do not recommend that. skills assessments. Now, as it says up here, homework will be adjusted depending on your skills, and this is where things are going to be a little bit different. So those of you who have seen the calculus video will know a little bit more about this, but pretty much what I'm going to be doing this year is focusing on a competency-based grading system. So instead of a traditional grading system where the teacher goes from chapter 1 to chapter 2 to chapter 3, your grade is going to be dependent on how many skills you can do and do well. So each semester will consist of prerequisite skills, or your P skills, required skills, or your R skills, supplementary skills, or your S skills, and then I believe for this one, I forgot to put, you'll also be tested skills, so T1 and T2, but those are the same as your prereqs or required skills. I'll go over them in a minute. You must pass all of your P1s, all of your P skills before moving on to your Rs, and then all of your Rs before moving on to your S's. You cannot go from R's without completing your P's, and you can't go into S's without completing your R's, but you can, let's say, complete P4 before completing P1. And you can complete R5 before completing R3. It does not matter in which level, like the order in which you do it in what level, it just matters that you complete all of this level, all of the P's, before moving on to all of your R's, before moving on to all of your S's. Now, here's where the biggest main difference between honors and college prep physics will be. Skills tests will be graded out of 5. They'll be consisting of 1 to 4 problems, but in order to pass, you must receive a 4.5 out of 5 for honors physics and a 4 out of 5 for CP physics. Failing a skills assessment is not the end of the world. They are designed so that even if you fail a couple, by the end of the semester, you'll still be able to pass all of your S skills. There's a little bit of a leeway in between, and everything there. If you happen to miss a test day, then you'll have to take that test on the next test day that we have. It'll be ongoing and building. So, did I miss anything there? I don't believe I did. So let's go over what these P skills are. So the basics are going to be, we talked a little bit about units, measurements, precision, and accuracy. On Friday, the 21st, I believe, we had both CP and honors physics do an activity with the precision and accuracy lab, and I have the data for that, and the rest of the not the rest of the week, for probably like another day or two. I have it planned out Monday and Tuesday, or Tuesday and Wednesday, depending on what class it is, because honors does not meet on Monday. That will be it'll be completing it, and I will send out the rubric and the outline for the lab tomorrow. I'll also go over it as well as what we did. So conversions are going to be P2, graphs, visuals, mathematical representations. Pretty much how do you graph certain things? What does a certain relationship show? Vectors and their properties. Here's a little bit of a difference. Honors, well, let me go back. For CP, vectors and the properties, we're going to be sticking in 1 dimension or 2 dimensions with at a 90-degree angle. So more trigonometry, but the basics of trigonometry, whereas in honors, we are going to be doing 1-dimensional, 2-dimensional, but 2-dimensional at any angle. So it could be greater than 90, it could be less than 90, and we'll be able to do some vector addition Position, velocity, acceleration, pretty simple. Graphic motion in one dimension is our R skills. So how can we take all of the basics that we did and really apply it in terms of one-dimensional graphing, free fall, acceleration, one-dimensional forces, projectile motion, which is more two-dimensional forces, circular motion, universal gravitation, and then you have 4 S skills. So momentum, it's conservation, work and energy, temperature and thermal motion, and insulation and thermal conductivity. We'll see how far along we get with this because these are big topics, and I want to make sure that they get their justice in before next semester. So the T1s and the T2s, those are going to be your skill checks, Ps for T1 and Rs for T2. What this means is that I'll get down to that when I get into the grading. So your grade in the section, I believe it's 45%. I'll have to check and adjust with CP as well. Will be determined by how many skills you can complete by the end of the semester. As I said, if you fail, it'll be okay. There's plenty of leeway time in there to work on it. But let's say you go through this entire semester and you only end up passing 1 P skill. Well, your grade would be a 6% in the assessment category. You could be doing well in your homeworks and your class participation, but you just can't get that P skill. So your overall grade will not be a 6%, but it'll be a 6% in the skills assessment category. If you manage to pass all 5, you'll get a 31. And then for your R skills, it's 6% each. So if you pass, and then if you pass all 6 of your R skills, it will be a total of a 68%. So if you manage to pass all of your R skills, you'll end up with a 68% in the assessment category. And then for your first 3 S skills, it's 7% each. But if you manage to pass all of your S skills, you'll get 100%. Going back to this T1 and T2 part of it, failure to pass T1 and or T2 by the end of the semester exam is going to result in a 5% deduction from the category. So just from the skills assessment category, not from your homeworks, not from your projects, not from your overall grade, but just from this category per test. So let's say you pass all of your S skills, but fail both T1 and T2 and fail it so that you run out of time to make it up by the end of the semester, you'd end up with a 90% in this category. What the T1s and T2s are designed to do is give you a chance to think through and make sure that we sort of go back onto those things that were done in the past so that you do not forget them, that we learn them and we retain them to be the best that we can be. Semester exam, it'll be form-fitted to meet all of your prior achievements. So for the student who only passed all R skills, then their assessment is going to be on all of the R skills. And then the student who did everything, their semester exam will be used for everything there. They can also retake T1 and T2, and I'll look into being able to retake other failed or still needed to take assessments. Projects and labs, they are meant to help supplement the material being taught, so they're meant to help better give you guys a feeling for what's being taught in class. Students will need to participate no matter what skill set they're on for material purposes, just if it's a collaboration thing, and then also so that reteaching goes a little bit smoother if the student will happen to need reteaching in this subject. Those taking the class virtually will still need to participate, but we have online videos and class videos to those without access to the materials. So I know the one assignment I put up was to find the area of the piece of paper, and I wanted you to use the class video to find the area of the piece of paper and then tell that to me. Then we'll have a little bit of discussion, or I'll post a different video. and students who do not have any sort of access, I'm trying to make these as open as possible. So, for example, in class on Friday, we threw golf balls into a bucket from 10 paces away. If you don't happen to have golf balls and a bucket, then you can use marbles and a cup, or little wads of paper and a a Dixie cup or something. Um, something along those lines. So I'm going to try to form fit these activities to use materials that you would commonly have around the house or commonly found in your backpack, so that we are able to keep the concept the same, but still be able to get through everything. If there are experiments or if there are investigations that, excuse me, at which you do not have and most likely won't have, then I will be providing online videos, whether they are from the classroom or from a general YouTube video to help supplement them. This next formal lab reports will be required for some labs. For CP, I do not believe that it is there, but I do not believe that I will necessarily be making formal lab reports a possibility, but things could change depending on how smooth things go. Lastly is the last major difference, which is the AP weighting. So by the end of March, beginning of April, we'll have covered all the content that is on the AP Physics 1 exam. Students who choose to take the AP exam must decide by November. Excuse me. I know I'm talking quickly, but I just want to make sure that all of this gets out. Feel free to pause the video, rewind, ask me any questions, send me an email, set up a time that we can talk in person to get to sort of get out all of the wrinkles. So they need to decide by November if they want to take it. A student who passes will receive AP weighting on the transcript. Most colleges also grant college credit for those who get a 4 or above, and it'll help you with many opportunities down the road. This class, AP Physics 1, is going to be your equivalent to a general physics, so an algebra-based physics for non math or physics or engineering majors. So if your school requires let's say you're a finance major and your school requires your school requires a general math course, a general science course, this will be the one that you need. If it requires a general science course with a lab, this is the one that you'll need, and we'll be able to work through a couple of extra problems here and there. For CP physics, that is not going to be an option, just for the honors physics. And then I have my philosophy as well. Why I'm doing competency-based grading as opposed to traditional grading, and everything there. So thank you for listening for a bit. I know I went by pretty fast, but if you have any questions, feel free to email me. And after that, I hope to see all of you later, and I look forward to a great year of physics with you. Have a good one.